This past summer, I went to New York to intern for Broadway Video, and if you don't know what Broadway Video is, it's the company that Lorne Michaels created to produce like SNL, and they went on to do like, they do like with Seth Meyers and Jimmy Fallon, and they did like 30 Rock, Mean Girls. I worked in their post-production office, so they have like 3 main offices. One's in LA, and then they have 2 in New York. One they have in 30 Rock, but that's like their business office, and then they have the post-production office, which is like a block from 30 Rock in the Brill building, which is in like Times Square. I was a ops intern, so basically I was just like doing whatever anybody told me to like keep the clients happy. We have like on staff, like post-production editors, color correctors, sound designers, things like that. They have like suites and studios and stuff that they all work with that they're on like Broadway Video's like staff. And then we also had like suites where clients from other like companies would come in and like rent out our suites and do their stuff in it, or like they would like contract our like employees to do stuff for them. Like some big people that do that are like CBS and Food Network and stuff like that. They'll come in. A lot of NBC stuff too. Like NBC has their own suite inside of Broadway Video's post-ops office. So I worked with operations basically every day. I'd mostly cover the front desk when the receptionist had to walk away. So I was like answering phone calls and distributing mail, things like that. But then I also would basically, if a client like needed something, I would like literally like go out about town and go get that thing for them and bring it. Or if they needed something delivered, I'd like go across New York. Like I'd have to go to Brooklyn sometimes just to like bring a hard drive to another like office. And that was the majority of my job. Every day there was this like snack time. So like they literally brought snacks around to all the clients, and like I was in charge of that. So I got to come up with the snacks and bring them to everybody. And you'd be shocked like how happy it makes you feel to see like middle-aged people like perk up at the sound of this little cart rolling, and you're like rolling the cart. But I also got to do like really like cool mini projects. Like I like posed for like photos to send to clients to see like all of our stuff, like our like sound studio. And like one time I organized like audio tapes from the original 5 seasons of SNL. So like I like held Carrie Fisher's like in my hands, and I was like, this is the greatest moment of my entire life. I got the STEP grant. I went through 2 years on campus and got the $2,000 grant from STEP. And so I used that to pay for my rent. And I moved to a house in Nassau County on Long Island, basically right off of Hofstra's campus. I lived in a house with 6 other people who I did not know until I moved in. They were like friends of friends. And the house did not have air conditioning, and I paid $700 a month to live there. And what leftover money I had all went to paying for transportation just to get to my job. So I didn't just take the subway, which I had to buy a $120 monthly pass to take. I also had to take the Long Island Railroad, which is a separate thing, and it's like $7 one trip. And when you buy like big tickets of like 10 trips, there's like a 10 trip is what they call it, you don't get a discount. You're just basically buying 7 of them on one ticket. So I had to buy those like basically like every week and a half, 2 weeks, just to commute to work. And anytime I wanted to like visit a friend, because I had a couple friends that were like in the city, anytime I wanted to visit them for like the night, I had to pay to go visit them and stuff like that. So it restricted me while I was there because like I didn't have very much money, because I also didn't get a part-time job because I was only there for like 2 weeks, or not 2 weeks, 2 months. So like I was a little strict on like cash, so I mainly like did free stuff like around Long Island, and I went to the beach a lot with my roommates, and so that like filled my time. This is like the most important thing I ever learned. Literally lose any like embarrassment that you have and just call people. I got an IMDb Pro account for a month. I did the 1 month free trial. I searched every single company that I was like interested in working for, and I like jotted down all their phone numbers and like kept them in this like file, which by the way, half of those phone numbers listed on there are incorrect because they don't update their information. In between classes, I would literally just call people and say, hey, can I speak to your internship coordinator? And they'd be like, here's the information, email them. And I actually, out of like my huge list, only talked to like, I think like 10 companies on the phone, because like I said, a lot of their numbers just aren't correctly listed, or like I'd leave them a voicemail and they don't call you back, you gotta call them back, but I was like distracted doing others, like talking to other people, so I like forgot about those. So I literally called their front desk and a current intern answered it. And he was like, hey, talk to Julia Baker, she was my boss. Email her your resume and cover letter, tell her you're interested, and if they like what they see, they'll email you back. So I waited like 2.5, 3 weeks, and then she emailed me and she was like, hey, what's up? Here's this application, fill it out. And it was literally just like 5 questions, like, why are you interested in us? Was pretty much the synopsis of it. And so I just filled that out. I was so nervous. I remember I typed and retyped all of my answers like 5 times because I was like, this is a New York internship, like I can't mess this up. And literally she emailed me back a couple days later and she's like, this looks great, let's do an interview. They gave me their Skype and I Skyped them, and we interviewed for, I don't even think it was 10 minutes long, and half of it was just them joking around with me, and we were talking about how like my boss, Julia, she's also from Ohio, which yeah, it does actually help going here apparently, because that is part of the reason that she was so interested in me. And also this club got me that job actually. I'll talk about that in a minute. But we talked about Buckeyes and how I didn't like them for 3 minutes of the maybe 8-minute interview. And they were goofy about it. I asked what the typical wardrobe was like at work, and one of them jokingly said chainmail. They were super chill and relaxed, and it was not what I thought an interview for a New York internship was gonna be like for me. And so the interview ended, and I feel like I waited for at least a month before I heard. I had accepted. I was like, I don't have this job. I was literally emailing Step, is it too late to change my proposal because I don't think I'm going to New York anymore. And just one night I got an email at 6 p.m. and they offered me the job, and I was in shock because I could not believe it happened. The main question they asked me was not, because I had real job experience, I interned with Big Ten Network and Wexner Medical Center's production team, and they did not ask me a single thing about any of that. They specifically asked me about OUTV, and they were interested in, because they were like, you made short films, and I was like, yeah, I've acted in them, I've directed one, I've written a couple things, I'm in a sketch comedy group, I wrote some stuff for them, and they were asking me about my work with that stuff. They did not care about anything professional on my resume. They wanted to see the drive that I had outside of that stuff to create content, and they were so amazed that we as an org made stuff together. They thought it was the coolest thing. And so this is what got me that internship, was being in this club. It was second semester. I think I started in late February, early March, so now. Now is about the time I started, and a lot of them will wait. They take their sweet time because you're not starting till summer, so they don't really care that much until right when they need to start really getting people. So yeah, I just start calling now and don't badger them. That's a piece of advice a lot of people gave me when I was actually on the phone with their front desk and stuff. They'd be email us, but don't badger. Don't constantly try follow up and stuff like that. They're let us get back to you, because it'll just piss them off and they won't care about you anymore. So just send something out, and then if you don't hear back from them, it's okay to follow up once, but if you don't hear back from them at that point, they're gonna write you off. So be cautious on that. I wrote for the Sundial last year, and we went to a humor conference in Princeton, New Jersey. And I met some people that are from Hofstra, and they wrote for the humor magazine there, and we Facebook friended people while we were at that conference, and I just messaged one of them. Literally the night I found out I had the internship, I messaged one of them and I was like, hey, do you know anywhere I can live? You're the only person that's from this area that I really know that can help me out. And completely forgot about my friends that are from New York. And he messaged me literally an hour later. He's like, yeah, I've got this place, and this place. Let me ask them if they need a roommate, and I'll get back to you. And within a week, I had the house locked down. Like I said, didn't know any of them. I Facebook friended them immediately, and we talked in a group message, but I didn't meet them until I moved in. They turned out being great. I got lucky. I still talk to a couple of them. Literally, I just talked to one yesterday. I was texting her because I missed her. But yeah, it was just because I happened to meet somebody a few months earlier that was from that area. We were basically all communication and film people. Yeah, I think. But like some of like the other like upper people weren't. I couldn't tell you what their majors were, but like not everyone in the office was like a communications and film studies major. It's just most of the interns are because like they have to do that for like some of their stuff. And like I know that with Broadway video, I had to confirm that I was like one of like 4 majors that they like accept because it's technically like a 4-credit program. And but yeah, so I think it's mostly communications and film and like journalism and production maybe.